Alright guys, what's up? It's Mike Thurston here. You guys have asked for it and I'm going to give it to you. This is a full day of cooking with me, Mikey T, in the place to be. So guys, this is just going to be a typical day of what I eat during the week. I'd say this is probably relatively higher carb compared to my lower carb days. In general, Monday to Friday, I like to keep everything pretty strict. I will monitor what I eat and I will try and stick to a plan. What I eat is going to depend upon the daily activity and what my goals are at that current point in time. So for example, if I'm in a cutting phase, I'm going to be a little more strict with what I'm eating. If I'm bulking or I'm trying to grow, then yes, I'll still monitor it, but the types of foods that I have, I'm not necessarily as strict with. So when it comes to meal prep, what I like to do, I will do it on an evening and I'll prepare the food for the entire next day. I found that this just works best for me. You know, I do a lot of work from home, but I find that if I cook each meal individually, I spend half the time cooking and cleaning up the place, and you know, I ain't got time for that. So I'll do it all in one go. I try and just listen to a podcast, listen to some music, just do something to make the task as painless as possible, because yes, last thing in the evening, last thing I want to do is cook, but it needs to be done. Okay, believe me, once you have all your food sorted for the next day, it's just one less thing you have to think about. Now, this little piece of sorcery here was a spreadsheet which I designed and built a few years ago. The reason why I've done this is because a lot of the apps aren't necessarily 100% reflective of the foods which I'm consuming. So what I've done is, all the foods which I buy on a regular basis, I've inputted the data into that spreadsheet. Yes, it was a pain in the ass doing, but I took the time to just do it. I looked at all the nutrition labels, and more often than not, I calculate the units. For example, 100 grams of blah, 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 blah. So I've got one tab with all the meat, fish, and protein which I consume. I've got another one with all the carbs which I'll regularly consume, vegetables, fruit, fats, condiments. I've got my calculator here. So today, I'm going to show you guys what 3,000 calories will consist of. So 2,993, let's round up to 3,000. Protein is 255, fats is 66.9, and carbs is 354. So here we go, boom bam. These are the foods which I will eat on a regular basis. We have turkey, we got some chicken, sweet potatoes, rice, a banana. Jesus, that looks pretty old. We got some mince, low than 5% fat. Turkey, tomatoes, spinach, broccoli, asparagus, apple, eggs, rye bread, oats, almonds, hold tight EHPLabs for the whey protein. And that's pretty much it. Let's go into the condiment drawer. Okay, we got some garlic granules, we've got pepper standard, we've got classic barbecue seasoning, Jamaican jerk seasoning, we've got some charcoal chicken seasoning, we've got some fajita smoky barbecue seasoning, salt, pink salt, because yeah, pink salt's the best. When it comes to the types of foods which I'll be consuming, I like to vary it a little bit. It's okay to be having the same thing every day, but if you keep that variety of food very limited, you run the risk of becoming deficient in certain vitamins and minerals. So I do like to mix up the sources of protein which I'm having. So in general, if it's a lean meat or fish, I will replace them from one another from time to time. The same with fats, you know, I'll mix up my fat sources. Maybe I'll get some salmon one day, maybe I'll have some avocado, some from eggs, some from oil, seeds, nuts. I like to mix it up, and so should you. Now, you don't have to weigh every single thing that you consume. It's not necessary if you've been doing it for a while, because you can kind of tell, you know, just from looking at it, you know, what kind of quantity and macronutrient split and calorie content it would be. But for a lot of people who've never done this before, I suggest you start weighing everything. You don't have to do it for the rest of your life, but just, you know, the process of doing this is going to teach you a lot. And I actually quite like it, so I can keep a good track of what it is that I'm consuming.
Are you ready?
So when it comes to the vegetables, I don't often weigh them in the scales. You can kind of just tell by the packet. Like this one, 100 grams of asparagus. We're just gonna whack it all in. And then with the broccoli, what's this? 500. I'll just rip off a healthy portion. Estimated that broccoli will probably be about 200 grams. Let's see how right or wrong I am. 170. Ooh. I'll prepare my vegetables in the old trusty steamer. I've heard a lot of conflicting things, different things on the internet saying, oh no, you shouldn't overcook your vegetables, or oh, you should have it raw. And you know, some people say that if you have it raw, you can't fully digest all of the nutrients that's within them. And then the same goes for if you overcook them, you just fucking kill everything within it. So for me, I like my vegetables a little bit crunchy, so I'll steam it for a bit and just let it simmer until I'm happy with it. Do you know what? I'm gonna go all out today. I'm gonna use 2 tiers. I'm gonna go for the double steamer, okay? Because we need some spinach in there as well, and there isn't much room there, so the double steamer's coming out in full force. If you weigh your spinach, it's a very sad day indeed. Spinach, the calorie content is so low, it really isn't gonna make that much of a difference, so just get a healthy handful. You know, when you steam it as well, it just goes to like 1/6 of the size, so don't be shy. Now it comes to selecting the meat. I've allowed myself, let's double check. We've got 250 grams of chicken and 200 grams of turkey. I'm a simple man. You know, I only need simple things to do the job at hand. I was considering buying a massive knife set, and I thought, I don't need all these really complicated knives to do the simple task of cutting meat. So, trusty knife. Oh, chicken juice runoff. How's my battery low already? I only bought it yesterday. Anyway, don't die on me, please. Ooh, it's a big breast. It's a big breast. 220 grams for this large breast, which I've just put on the scales. So, yeah, I'm gonna chop that up. No, how can you run out of battery after a day? Well, let's assume that this is my target, 450 grams of lean meat. So the key, again, chop it into smaller pieces. I like to chop it into small pieces because it absorbs more of the seasonings and the spicings which you put on it when you're cooking it. And this is the thing, people, taste is a very crucial part of this process. To enjoy this, you have to make it as tasty as possible. Now, I'm a simple man. I don't need much to, you know, satisfy my palate. I'm not a chef. Simple seasonings will do me fine. You know, if I'm going out to really enjoy food, I'll go out on a weekend, that's what I do. I go out on the evenings and I eat out. And I let someone else cook for me and I enjoy their cooking. You know, I can't make my food taste as good as these wonder boy chefs out there. I mean, I could do, but, you know, I don't really want to be a chef. I'm happy with what I can make with my own 2 hands. Some key points with the rice, I do actually like to give it a tiny bit of a stir, because if you don't, all the rice, or a lot of rice, tends to stick to the bottom. So before it gets going wild like this, give it a little bit of a stir to prevent any stickage to the panage. Now that's going nicely. Because it's really thin rice, I don't actually need that long for it to boil. I'm gonna whack this 2-tier bad boy on, and you know, I only need a couple of minutes on this because, like I said, I like it crunchy and I don't want to kill every single nutrient that is inside these pleasant greeneries. So now I've chopped and diced the turkey and chicken. There's a nice little mixture there. I'm gonna get my big pan. I'm gonna get that heated up. Oh, that's the wrong one. Where the hell are you? There you go. That's the wrong one as well. There we go. Hey, there we go. Now, it's your choice what you put on the pan to get it nice and lubed up. You can use coconut oil if you want to, or you can use a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. Butter, I probably wouldn't recommend, but you know, do what you need to, but just keep an eye on it. Some people go crazy with adding the oils and stuff onto pans and stuff. You know, if you're doing this for a number of different meals, it's gonna add up. You know, with this amount of meat, I'm probably gonna need a fair bit of oil. If I'm preparing the mince, I don't actually need that much oil because the fat from the mince actually lubes up the pan itself. And then with the eggs, if I'm doing an omelette, I only use a tiny, tiny little bit. Now, with the lean steak mince, you could weigh it out if you wanted to, but my scales have just given up on me. But you know, it's simple. We've got 500 grams here, so I'm just gonna go half of it. Give me half, give me half, give me half in my left. There we go. See, we've got plenty of oil there. It's gonna be all good. It's gonna be okay. It's okay. It's okay. What seasonings are we gonna have today? I think we're gonna have Jamaican jerk. I'm feeling extra jerky. To season the mince, I'm gonna have some fajita mix. I would be a little bit wary of the carb content carb content on this is pretty high actually. It's 60 grams per 100 grams, so yeah, watch out for that. Don't go crazy with this will probably last me for 2 or 3 different meals. I don't go and whack it all in one go. You don't need to. Mash, 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 mash. So now let us put the seasoning. So let's sprinkle the oh my god, I went a little bit overboard there. So let's mix that around a little bit. I'm gonna add more seasoning in a bit. Add the fajita mix. It's pretty hard to do one-handed, bear with me. A little gentle dash to start off with. Gonna mix it up, and then like I said, we're gonna add more in a bit. You don't want all the fat from the mince, so just drain off any of this excess juice. More seasoning for the men, more seasoning for the men. Also, I'm a huge, why wouldn't you focus? There we go. I'm a huge fan of garlic. I would usually chop up garlic as it is, but I'm pretty lazy, so I just use the garlic granules. Is it as healthy as chopping the garlic up? Probably not, but it saves time and adds even more flavour. We all love flavour, which is good. I think with some of these seasonings and condiments, the sodium content might be quite high in some of them, so be aware of that. So if you are the type of person that likes to add salt to your meals, some of these seasonings are going to have quite a lot of salt already in them, so don't go overboard with the salt. So these are coming along nicely. I'm going to let them cook gently now. I'm going to ease off with the heat on the pan. And as they're just slowly simmering away, you know, you gotta think, I don't want these dry as a bone. I still want these pretty moist. So now I'm gonna prepare the sweet potato wedges. I've allocated myself, what did we say? What did we say on the plan for tonight? Hey, don't be looking at my password. 400 grams, nice, nice. So as my scales have died, let's just assume that this is 400 grams worth of sweet potato. Preparation of sweet potato is key, in my opinion. You can replace these with white potatoes if you want, but you know, I've had some of my clients who just boil them and have them boiled. That doesn't seem very appealing to me. The way you want to do this, you want to do them nice. Cut them up into wedges and put them in the oven on a gentle heat and let them turn into nice little wedges. Bam. Get rid of the minging bits at the end. Slice down the middle. Actually, no, this ain't happening. So there we go. Get them into even sizes. You don't want one too, actually that's looking a little bit too big, but you don't want them too big or too small because some are going to cook quicker than others. So bear that in mind. This is a little trick which I do to make them taste even nicer. I put a little bit of olive oil into a bowl and I just dip my fingers into that bowl and I just massage the sweet potato, the exposed bits, not the skin, just the orangey bits. And what it does is it retains the moisture and makes them taste extra nice. Olive oil in a bowl here. I'm gonna dip my fingers in it and I'm just gonna gently massage the sweet potatoes so they're nice and moist. So bear in mind, when you've done this method of oiling them up, I'll probably use an extra tablespoonful of olive oil, so you want to account for that in your programming. These things do count, especially if you're cutting. So I'm putting these on a baking tray on some tin foil, and oven is preheated at 175 degrees Celsius. I find that number works very well, and I don't do it for a set time. I will just keep checking up on them every now and then until they are to my liking. Now I'm going to prepare the eggs. I'm going to have 3 egg whites and 3 whole eggs. If I don't fancy an omelette or if I'm in a rush, I might mix it up and change the food around a little bit. So sometimes I'll have a can of tuna with some boiled eggs, or I'll have a salmon fillet with some vegetables. And if I don't have time for the omelette, or I don't have any eggs in for whatever reason, I'll just have a simple can of tuna and an avocado. Cook it to your preferred texture. I'm gonna add a little bit of garlic granules because I love garlic. And then we're gonna add some pepper. Jeez, I can do this one-handed, nice. Simple, yet effective and tasty. One flip should do the trick. Is it gonna work? Is it gonna work? Oh, it's gonna be messy. There we go, that'll do. I'm gonna add a few tomatoes because I've got them in. If you are gonna be having a couple of tomatoes, you know, if you're being really anal about everything, you can weigh them if you want, but in this case, it's probably about 50 calories, so. Now, just waiting on sweet potatoes to be done. They're looking nice. Oh my God, blasted with the heat. They look good enough to me. So here we go, this is everything fully prepared. I put them on plates because it looks nicer. Looks pretty minging when you put them in Tupperware. But everything looks pretty damn good to me. I'm also gonna have the oatmeals with a scoop of EHPLabs protein. The flavor of the protein is gonna dictate how the oatmeal tastes. So I'll have it plain. And I got my rye bread, which I'm gonna spread a tablespoonful of jam on after I put it in the toaster. Got a little serving of almonds, which I'll snack on at some point in the day. Same with the apple and banana. So guys, thanks for watching. That's just a typical day in the life of me eating the food which I eat. I eat pretty much the same thing from time to time, but obviously I'll mix things up, particularly on a weekend, and depending upon what I fancy and what's in the fridge. Okay, I have my trusty calculator which saves a lot of work for me, and that really has helped me to obtain the physique which I have today. I'm going to cover more about nutrition in following videos to come, and if you do have any questions, just ask below and I'll do my best to answer them. If you want a full description of the foods which I consume along with a calorie breakdown for each, check the description section below, okay? So please excuse me for now, but I'm hungry and I'm gonna eat that food.